long time ago, there lived a fearsome demon, a kind of cruel and terrifying devil. They delighted in killing humans and destroying everything in their path. But then came someone who dared to challenge them. Momotaro, the legendary hero who stormed Yumengashima and defeated countless demons. This marked the beginning of an endless war between the descendants of Momotaro and the demons, a bitter conflict that would rage on for thousands of years. But during one of the next great demon purges, a man named Ichino Tsuyoshi saved a newborn baby of demonic blood. His decision was fiercely opposed by Samidare, another descendant of Momotaro, who demanded that Tsuyoshi kill the infant, but Tsuyoshi ignored him. He believed his choice was not a mistake. This is TOUGEN ANKI. The story centers on a lonely young man named Shiki. He is deeply obsessed with all kinds of firearms: rifles, shotguns, rockets, revolvers, and more. We find Shiki receiving news from a friend. He's been expelled from school, yet he shows no regret. In fact, he seems proud of being kicked out. Suddenly, Tsuyoshi, his adoptive father, kicks open the door and smacks Shiki's head so hard he collapses. Tsuyoshi is furious upon hearing about the expulsion and demands Shiki explain what happened. Instead of answering, Shiki calls Tsuyoshi annoying, even says he's glad they're not related by blood, enraging Tsuyoshi even further. Shiki is a demon-blooded child adopted by Tsuyoshi. Their relationship is strained. Shiki resents his father, while Tsuyoshi deeply cares for him and panics whenever Shiki is in trouble. Just as Tsuyoshi is about to explode again, he receives a phone call from a customer, ordering alcohol for a wedding party. While Tsuyoshi leaves to deliver the order, Shiki sits in quiet thought, wondering if he really is just an orphan. He secretly wishes someone wealthy had adopted him. Not Tsuyoshi, just a simple liquor vendor. Bored, Shiki pulls out his beloved pistol and fires a shot. But suddenly, he's stunned as black, thread-like particles wrap around him, slamming him to the ground. Moments later, a terrifying man approaches him. Just in time, Tsuyoshi crashes into the man with his car, knocking him back, and swiftly grabs Shiki, fleeing the scene. Inside the car, Tsuyoshi considers his only remaining option. Perhaps they should flee the country. Still confused, Shiki demands to know if Tsuyoshi borrowed money from loan sharks or the Yakuza. What kind of debt collector attacks like that? In Shiki's eyes, Tsuyoshi didn't need to nearly kill that debt collector by running him over. But Tsuyoshi is certain the man isn't dead. And right now, there's no time to explain. He tells Shiki one crucial truth. Shiki is a descendant of demons, and that man, the one Shiki thought was a debt collector, is Samidare, a descendant of Momotaro. Shiki is shocked, disbelieving, accusing Tsuyoshi of making it up. But then Samidare appears, chasing them, covering the entire car in black, bacteria-like mist. Forced to stop, Tsuyoshi pulls into an abandoned factory. The car explodes moments later, and Shiki vanishes, dragged inside the factory by Samidare. Inside the factory, Samidare binds Shiki, who remains bewildered by the chaos. Samidare declares to Shiki, those who inherit demon blood are nothing but pests to humanity, and eliminating such pests is his duty as a member of the Momotaro agency. Soon after, Tsuyoshi appears from behind a door, revealing the truth. The tale of Momotaro is real. For thousands of years, Momotaro and the demon clans have been at war, passing the battle down through generations. Eventually, Momotaro's descendants united, forming the Momotaro Agency, dedicated to hunting down demons hiding among humans. But now, as a former agent, Tsuyoshi will protect his son even though he carries demon blood. Samidare is enraged. Tsuyoshi was once his senior, yet never listened to his warnings. Now they have no choice but to fight. They clash with unique weapons exclusive to Momotaro's bloodline. Shiki watches in utter shock, realizing his father is a Momotaro warrior. In truth, Tsuyoshi's real name is Mamagarawa Tsuyoshi. He changed it to Ichino Tsuyoshi to escape his past. But no name change can hide the truth. He is a Momotaro. Samidare reminds Tsuyoshi how dangerous demon-blooded beings are, creatures who once brought suffering to humanity. But Tsuyoshi stands firm, shielding Shiki. With no other option, Samidare decides to kill them both. Tsuyoshi vows he won't let his son die. Blood or not, Shiki is his son. An intense, evenly matched battle erupts. They exchange blows, parrying and countering each other's attacks, all while clashing with their legendary weapons. Mid-fight, Samidare demands to know why Tsuyoshi protects a demon-blooded child. After all, Tsuyoshi knows demons have always harmed humans, but Tsuyoshi refuses to answer such a foolish question, and instead strikes Samidare with his sword. Samidare calmly predicts the attack, counters at lightning speed, and finally, Tsuyoshi collapses, a fatal slash tearing across his body. He loses. Years of retirement have dulled his skills. Samidare asks once more, why protect Shiki? At last, Tsuyoshi answers, because Shiki is my precious son. He may have demon blood, but he hasn't hurt anyone. With his last strength, Tsuyoshi grabs Samidare's leg, pleading, I won't kill a child who knows nothing, just for the blood he inherited. Samidare doesn't care. He draws his sword again, ready to end Tsuyoshi's life. Shiki, watching his helpless father treated like an animal, feels his rage explode. Consumed by fury and sorrow, his body begins to change. Blood surges from every part of him. Samidare is stunned by the sudden, brutal attack. Shiki has awakened, transformed into a demon with the power to manipulate blood. He attacks with blinding speed, his ferocity overwhelming even Samidare, a seasoned demon hunter. But with experience on his side, Samidare slashes Shiki's arm clean off. Yet in an instant, Shiki regenerates it, and he attacks again. This time, Shiki shapes his blood into various weapons, even firearms and missiles. Samidare is driven into a corner, pinned beneath Shiki's foot. Without hesitation, Shiki executes Samidare at point-blank range. But as if he has 9 lives, Samidare rises once more. Meanwhile, Shiki, exhausted from unleashing all his power, reverts back to his human form. Still dazed, Shiki has no idea what's happening to him. Samidare approaches, sword raised, ready to finish Shiki off. But suddenly, Tsuyoshi leaps in, shielding his son. The blade pierces Tsuyoshi's chest. For a fleeting moment, Tsuyoshi remembers Shiki's gentle smile. Just like any ordinary boy, dying, Tsuyoshi whispers, "I'm already happy." Outside the factory, a crowd gathers drawn by the massive explosion. With so many people around, Samidare flees. Inside, Shiki is shattered, cradling his dying father. With his final breath, Tsuyoshi speaks to Shiki. He apologizes for hiding the truth. He didn't want to burden Shiki with confusion, and asks Shiki not to worry about him. He warns Shiki, the descendants of Momotaro will hunt him, simply because he has demon blood. He kept it secret to protect Shiki, believing he could keep him safe. He always wanted Shiki to live a normal, happy life, free from the war between demons and Momotaro. But now, Tsuyoshi can protect him no longer. Since the truth is out, he urges Shiki to grow stronger, strong enough to defeat both Momotaro and demons, so that no one can ever take his happiness again. Shiki screams he doesn't want to hear this. It feels like Tsuyoshi is leaving forever, like he's vanishing into another world. Shiki wants to keep talking. Tears streaming, he confesses. He still wants to hear his father call him an idiot when scolding him. He wants to apologize for always saying he wasn't proud to be Tsuyoshi's adopted son. But in the end, Tsuyoshi takes his last breath. As Shiki sits in grief, unaware, a shadow sneaks up behind him. With a single strike, he's knocked unconscious. It's Nato, and he's come to kidnap Shiki. Elsewhere, a group of mummies, known descendants of Momotaro, lament Samidare's reckless actions. With Momotaro's power weakening in recent times, they fear exposure. They cannot afford for the public or the demons to discover their existence. Thus, they demand the demon child be eliminated before he fully awakens. Meanwhile, a man revealed to be the headmaster contacts Nato. Recently, Nato has successfully recruited several candidates. For the headmaster's school, the headmaster orders, train these demon-blooded recruits to become so strong. They become invincible because they are rare and powerful. This is just the beginning. For a brief moment, Shiki recalled the beautiful memories of his childhood with his father. But suddenly, his father's body was slashed apart. This shocking image jolted Shiki awake from his faint. Upon regaining consciousness, Shiki found himself bound to a chair in the middle of a large hall. He was clearly confused, especially by the unfamiliar figure standing before him. Nato. Nato introduced himself to Shiki, revealing that he, too, was a demon like Shiki. Nato stated he wouldn't tell Shiki where they were. All he would say was that Tsuyoshi's body had been safely stored away. He explained he brought Shiki here for two reasons: evaluation and recovery. Then, in a flash, Nato rolled over on roller skates, claiming they were fast and efficient, and pulled out a chalkboard. He began writing several sentences, then explained that those who inherited Momotaro's blood could control the black mist. They belonged to the Momotaro Agency, formed to exterminate demons. In opposition to Momotaro, there existed a demon agency. Nato admitted he sought out awakened demons like Shiki, evaluating whether they were worthy of joining the demon agency. Now, Nato gave Shiki a chance to ask questions, unbinding the gag over his mouth. But instead of asking anything, Shiki erupted in rage, screaming at Nato to untie him. He also threatened Nato, warning that if he harmed his father, Shiki would kill him without mercy. Nato remained unmoved. He simply stated that Shiki had just lost 1 point. His aggressive, uncontrolled outburst cost him 2 more points in Nato's assessment. Though Shiki had no idea who Nato was, why he was suddenly captured and evaluated, he tried to calm himself, suppressing his anger. Still confused and desperate, Shiki demanded Nato release him because he needed to leave quickly to avenge his father's death. Shiki's continued hostility and aggression forced Nato to resort to brutal methods to test his worthiness. To determine whether Shiki was useful enough to join the demon agency, Nato strangled Shiki with his tie, a method to reveal a person's true nature when facing death. He challenged Shiki to use his tiny brain to think and find a way to escape the noose, because failure meant certain death. Refusing to die in such a ridiculous manner, Shiki slowly awakened once more. Shiki entered a berserk state, but Nato was no ordinary demon. Despite Shiki's wild, uncontrolled attacks, Nato remained completely unscathed and deducted 100 points from Shiki's score. Nato concluded that Shiki had no idea how to control his demon blood. Therefore, he would demonstrate the correct way to use it. However, Shiki, now completely out of control, wouldn't remember anything. His mind consumed only by the instinct to kill. As we saw, Shiki charged in blindly. Had Nato been careless, the attack might have been fatal. But with just a single move, Shiki was knocked down, reverting back to his human form. As Shiki lay dazed and confused, Nato explained that demon blood was extremely powerful, but difficult to control. He emphasized that when Shiki lost control and went berserk, he would lose both self-awareness and memory. Nato added, "In the hands of a fool, even a knife becomes dangerous." Nato subtly demonstrated his own mastery over demon blood. Shiki didn't fully understand what Nato meant, but one thing was clear. Nato was incredibly strong. For the first time, Shiki swallowed his pride. He knelt down and begged Nato to take him as a subordinate, admitting he wanted to grow stronger so he could avenge his father. But Nato coldly refused. In his view, anyone who fought without using their brain would die first. He saw Shiki as unable to control his blood or think clearly, precisely why he rejected him. Then, using a thorned ring, Nato drew his own blood and instantly shaped it into an umbrella weapon. Fully aware, Shiki realized Nato was showing him exactly how to control demon blood. Immediately, Shiki dashed forward, slashing his arm on the floor until it bled. Using a blood umbrella as a shield, he hid behind it. Nato predicted Shiki's next move 3 possible attacks. He was ready for all of them. But then, despite Shiki's unexpected action, Nato still managed to withstand it. With just one finger, he blocked the blood bullet Shiki fired. Nato dismissed it as mere luck, a fluke, not true control. He was certain Shiki would soon lose control again. To finish Shiki off, Nato activated his ultimate technique, Blood Eclipse Rain of Awakening. But to his utter shock, Shiki, far beyond his expectations, demonstrated excellent control over his demon blood. The boy he deemed foolish and emotionally unstable was now calmly thinking and skillfully manipulating his power. In Nato's eyes, Shiki was a rare breed of demon. Shiki once again knelt and begged, pleading to be taken as Nato's student, asking to be taught everything so he could grow strong enough to kill Samidare. Yet Nato still refused to make him a subordinate. What Shiki did, he said, was reckless, risking his life without a backup plan. What if he lost control again? Shiki clearly hadn't thought it through. This was the exact opposite of Nato's calculated, strategic mindset. Nato declared that real battles required multiple contingency plans. He judged Shiki as inefficient. He had no intention whatsoever of taking Shiki as a subordinate. However, Nato firmly announced he would take Shiki as his student. He declared Shiki had passed the test, albeit with the bare minimum score. Afterward, Nato explained that Shiki was now on an island known as Hell's Gate. Commonly called Yumengashima, at the island's center stood the Resetsu Academy, a school for demons, no ordinary school, but a military academy training demons to fight the Momotaro agency. At Resetsu Academy, Shiki would learn to control his demon blood, combat techniques, general education, and the history between demons and Momotaro. Though there would be no flag ceremonies or scouting activities, Nato would become Shiki's homeroom teacher. He reiterated that Shiki would live in the dorms, training to fight against the Momotaro agency. The sheer volume of information overwhelmed Shiki, his head practically going bald from stress. In short, Shiki soon arrived at the changing room to put on his school uniform. To his shock, something protruded from his head, devil-like horns. These were proof that his demon blood had awakened. With training, he'd learned to summon and hide them at will. Nato then revealed that Shiki wasn't the only one who passed. Several others had also succeeded, but Shiki's abilities ranked the lowest among them. If he proved useless, he would be expelled. Shiki asked again about his father. Nato replied that his father's body was in the morgue. Uncertain of the proper funeral customs, Nato had postponed the burial rites. Then, without warning, Nato left, giving Shiki only 15 seconds to get to class. Standing at the classroom door, Shiki hesitated, wondering how to act around his new classmates. Suddenly, Nato kicked him in, crushing Shiki's pride once more. Immediately, Shiki acted like a tough gangster. He mocked Jean, who wore a mask, and demanded tissues for his nosebleed. He laughed at Jean for not having horns, calling him a demon baby. Enraged, Jean revealed his horns, retorting that only clueless beginners flaunted them. But his words provoked Hikari, who instantly challenged him to a fight. Juji, the model student, stepped in to break it up, tearing his own notebook to make tissues for Shiki to prevent chaos over a simple tissue. Shiki refused it. Instead, he jumped onto a desk and directly challenged Jean, whom he found annoying. Everyone was stunned, when suddenly, Nato appeared out of nowhere. Even more shocking, since when had Shiki been sitting next to Jean as classmates? With no orientation period, Nato took all his students to play a game of tag, leading them straight into Shinra Forest. He gave them 1 hour to return to school. Anyone caught by Nato would be detained. If all were caught, the game ended, and anyone who failed to reach the goal would be expelled. During this exercise, Nato promised not to use his demon blood, while students could use theirs freely. But if anyone lost control or went berserk, Nato would use his blood to stop them. Jean, feeling confident, asked, "What if you die because you're not using your blood?" Nato simply replied, "Whoever manages to kill me will pass immediately and be assigned to an elite unit." Clearly, Nato was no ordinary opponent. There was no way beginners could defeat him. Before starting, Nato reminded them, demons and Momotaro agents would continue to kill each other. He knew each student had their own reasons for being here. Therefore, if they wanted to achieve their goals, they must keep winning.
覚悟はできてるみたいだな。一人違うみたいだな。ふざけんな。こっちもマジでやるのが筋だろ。
Hello, dear and kind viewers. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that Mr. Ultra stays motivated to create more content. Anyway, for every video you watch, take the good, leave the bad. Thank you for watching. Sayonara tenten. Goodbye. Remember, stay happy. Viewers. Rar, rar, rar.